Hello, boys and girls. You are now listening. Yes, listening. Because I know I'm going to post this on my RSS feed, but I'm doing it this time. You're listening SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, and watching on YouTube Peter's WWE TLC recap. Again, this is the Peter's WWE TLC recap. And I will say right off the bat, it was not a bad show. It fell into one of those pay-per-views that even though the build was really crappy, the pay-per-view itself just sort of worked itself out. I mean, I'm not going to bitch and moan. There's things in it that I thought could have been different. But for the most part, it was a pretty entertaining show. Especially with such a horrible build. But I'm not singing its praises. I'm just not going to knock it. And I really went into it thinking it was going to be extremely horrible. From the pre-show to the main event and even post-main event, I was entertained. And you have to take in consideration, too, that this is a Cena-less, the second Cena-less pay-per-view. The last time we seen Cena was in Hell in a Cell. He lost the belt to Alberto Del Rio. And so there was no, like, what's the word I want to use? Angst or, like, anxiety for how a Cena match was going to turn out. You had the League of Nations basically have everyone from the League of Nations having a match except Wade Barrett. And then you had everyone from Team Reigns, the Rain Men. They all had a match. And it was, I mean, they held their own. I will give them kudos, and then the fact that they held their own. Again, there was some things I wish that were a little different, but if I was to shit on this, it would be me really, really, really nitpicking. So, shout out to the boys that worked tonight, boys and girls that actually put in a lot of work. TLC is not one of those pay-per-views that I imagine they look forward to. You know, they can't look forward to this. This is the pay-per-view where they're going to be leaving in a lot of pain because of steps and because of the tables and chairs and the ladders. A lot of big spots tonight. Actually, this TLC compared to last TLC is, in terms of the spots and the whole shit moments, it was way more. It wasn't so gimmicky. And those guys took a beating. Everyone took a fucking beating tonight. So hats off to those guys to have to go through this. And I hope they get, like, you know, the proper ice and the proper fucking Bengay or Icy Hot that they got to put on their bodies, because they got to trot that shit right out there tomorrow for Raw. I mean, just sore as fuck. I mean, I'd imagine the only person that is not in pain is fucking Xavier Wood. Like, that's it. The only person in the entire show that is like that got away without taking like a hellified bump or something is Xavier Wood. So yeah, in the distance, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels is in the distance. So if I look over it, I happened to look over a second ago. That's what I was looking at. I guess I'll listen to that on the Stone Cold podcast. But let's get into this review because again, normally I don't put these on because I try to wait for Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling because I'll do a Peter's Raw recap tomorrow as well. But just to jump on it, I want to run through it with you guys and tell you how I feel. So WWE TLC is in Boston, and the pre-show was Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. And do I even remember how this match... Oh, yeah, I do remember how this match ends. It ends with Sasha Banks winning via help from the rest of Team Bad. If you've been keeping up, Sasha Banks is actually from Boston. And the match itself, I mean, it was about 12 minutes long. I mean, they got a lot of minutes. I mean, 8, 10, 12 minutes. It was a good, long, lengthy match. And the whole psychology of it was on point. Everything about it was on point. Becky Lynch played an amazing babyface. Team Bad played awesome heels. They earned their money at the end. And, causing the loss for Becky Lynch and getting Sasha Banks the victory, working in unison. You can't beat it, especially when the heel's going over. So no complaints about that match. It's definitely worth checking out. If you didn't watch the pre-show, I would suggest go watch it. It's far removed from, say, the NXT days where Becky Lynch wouldn't stand a chance against Sasha Banks because she was booked so strong. But if you're someone who didn't watch NXT and say what was going on there, you just saw this for face value for what it was a really good match. So kudos to those girls. And we get to the first match, which was like Jake from Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. He's like, this could be the dark horse of a match, and I pretty much agreed with him. I thought it was going to steal the show. So were they going to start with it, or were they going to put it in the middle of the card? And sure enough, they started off with this shit. It was the ladder match. It was the triple threat ladder match involving the New Day, who are the tag team champions, with Xavier Wood on commentary, the Lucha Dragons, and the Usos. And my prediction was the Lucha Dragons finally getting the belts and giving Kalisto the push. But that wasn't the case. The New Day actually retains the belt with help from Xavier Wood. He actually darts the trombone. I'm like, man, what accuracy, He darts the trombone at Sin Cara. I'm sorry, not Sin Cara, but Kalisto as he goes up for the belt. And then Kofi Kingston knocks him down, goes up and grabs the belt, and that's how that ends. But me wanting Kalisto to finally get a push, to finally fill in that Rey Mysterio hole, it didn't happen in this win. They didn't get the win. The Lucha Dragons, let's push these guys as babyface tag team champions, and let's get Kalisto out there as a superstar, as your next Rey Mysterio. Let's sell some masks. Okay, they didn't win, but Kalisto had one hellified show. And if the Slammies are coming up, and if there's a holy shit moment, if there's one holy shit moment, and I think it's the moment, it's his coming out party. Kalisto. This was his moment. A fucking Selena Del Sol off the top of the ladder on Kofi. Was that it was one of the what was it? One of the Usos, or was it? I think it was Kofi Kingston. Was it Kofi Kingston? I didn't even write it down. But anyway, he fucking pulls off the Selena Del Sol off the top of the ladder, landing on a straddled, a ladder that was straddled between the middle rope and the ladder that they were both climbing, and it was a thing of beauty. I mean, it has to be the oh shit moment of the year. It really is. It's the biggest, the greatest spot the WWE seen all year, and there's a lot of spots that's been going on, but this one, it takes the fucking cake, man. It really does take the cake. So kudos to, I think it was a Uso or a New Day guy. I'm not sure, but kudos for them for taking that spot and getting broken in half. Kudos to Kalisto. That's your moment, kid. That's going to be something we're going to be talking about for a very long time, and it's well deserved. Let's go ahead and get those. Let's go ahead and get that baby face push, baby. Let's sell some masks. The kid's gonna love this guy. We got Rusev versus Ryback. Nothing really much to it. It had no stipulation. There was no TLC anything attached to this, and the storyline has been, Ryback facing Rusev and Lana playing coy, acting like she's gotten hurt and all this shit. And that's what happened in this one, where Lana actually slaps the back of Ryback to make it seem like she just gotten hit, made contact with him, and which leads to a super kick to the face, threw him in the ring, and put him in the accolade. And he got the Cena treatment for the accolade, made him pass out. Rusev wins. But off the fake injury with Lana, I knew I had Rusev winning this. Ryback never wins big matches. He just doesn't. Hit me up, PJTW Central, that's the Twitter, or leave a comment below. Please tell me the last time. Give me the record, Ryback's win-loss record for pay-per-views. This guy just doesn't win, and I don't even know what they're going to even try to do with him now. He's in a situation where he's just been kind of floating around. And just trying to find his place. And normally those people like that, like just floating around, not really in a direction, they're like next in line for like a really good storyline. Not this guy. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with him. And plus he's pulling out like new moves, big moves, and what have you. And one thing I wanted to mention about this match too, Rusev did this on his own with Lana. No one came out. I wish if you're going to do this whole League of Nations, like at the beginning of the show, like right before the TLC, there was like the fucking the League of Mid-Carders. They had like a little table, round table of them about to go in and kick some ass, and it was awkward. That was like the worst thing. I think that was the worst thing on the night. But no one came out to help him. It was just him, Rusev and Lana, and a victory over Ryback. And Ryback basically ended the careers of the Ascension, and then this is what he gets as a consolation. He passes out. I guess we see him in a Royal Rumble or something. Swagger versus ADR in a chairs match. It was, again, I had no problem with this match at all. It was very entertaining. And it started off kind of weird because I guess the Boston crowd is a bunch of assholes and they probably didn't want to see it. The only thing that was really missing out of this was the USA sort of element. There was no USA chance. There was no babyface USA heat for Swagger, and that was something that was missing. A big part of this match that was missing. But they started chanting CM Punk. And I was like, you bunch of jerks. Come on, man. Chill. It wasn't really necessary, But after, this was a brutal match. A lot of brutal chair shots. Some of the stuff was kind of corny, like the stacking of the chairs on top of Del Rio was kind of lame. They didn't really affect anything, honestly. But there was at the very end a really big chair shot to the back of Jack Swagger as he tried to. He just ended up on the second buckle somehow, and then he gets a fucking wicked chair shot to the back. Just a brutal chair shot, which gets him into the House of Woe. And Del Rio stacks a bunch of chairs under him. He climbs on top of the fucking top rope. And I call it the Border Buster. It's the Tree of Woe stomp. But he stomps his ass into those chairs and kills Jack Swagger. 1, 2, 3 pin. Again, no help from nobody. Clean pin. And it wasn't even like a heel pin either. Because it's a chair match, so there's no DQ, so he didn't win dirty. There was no way he won dirty. Whatever. Again, just the little things that they could have done different. And I think Jack Swagger didn't do a good enough job to get his USA babyface heat. But Nevertheless, that would be nitpicking. So that's back-to-back victories for the League of Nations. Back-to-back victories. Team Extreme versus the Wyatt family in a single elimination 8-man tables match, meaning that whoever gets put through a table is eliminated, and then basically there's 7 tables that has to be put through. So there's a spot, right, where Strowman's leg goes through a table and he should have been eliminated. They got to clean that up. They got to figure that out. I hope they do some explaining to that, because like he went through a table. They're like, oh, he has to go through a table. It's like, no, his leg went through a table. He went through a table. So he should have been eliminated, but that's how the show goes sometimes. Live television sucks sometimes with shit like that. But they're going to have to do some hell of explaining that Braun Strowman wasn't eliminated for putting his feet through a goddamn table. And on the fly, you could tell they were like, oh, you got to go through, whatever. Well, anyway, we get a 3D Roman through a table, so he was the first to go. Rhino was the second to go because Harper big kicks his ass through the table set up in the corner. Devin is rock bottomed by or bookend, or whatever we want to see, by Bray Wyatt. Dreamer is eliminated by Harper by a spear. And then right at the very end, Bubba Ray, who's the lone survivor, it looks like he's about to, he basically put some lighter fluid on a table. He's about to fucking light the table on fire and put, I'm not sure who he's about to put through it. Maybe Harper through the damn table. But the tables get turned, and Strowman eliminates Bubba Ray through the table. Now, maybe that's the second. I'm almost thinking that was the second botch by Strowman, because wouldn't you think, after all of that and putting that lighter fluid on, don't you think the payoff, I mean, it's a tables match. Don't you think the payoff would be fucking the table actually being lit on fire and then having Bubba Ray go through the fire? If they're going to go down, like literally go down in flames, it would have been awesome. It would have been great for Bubba, to be put through a fucking table that's in flames to take him out. But I think Strowman, because it's Harper, and you see him like kind of look for the lighter, but Strowman just like, fuck this, and he puts him through the table without anyone setting the table on fire. So maybe we'll hear about that. We'll hear about that botched table spot, and then we'll hear about him jumping the gun and putting Bubba Ray through a table. Now we'll probably hear later through whatever pipeline about like, no, the table wasn't supposed to be set on fire, and I'm gonna call bullshit on that. I'm gonna call total bullshit, because that table should have been on fire. You go through all that trouble. That table should have been on fire. Kevin Owens versus Ambrose. Your basic 50-50 match, I guess, if you like that kind of style. That's what's up. But I'm not at all an Ambrose fan because of it. I think, Kevin Owens does his best sometimes to sort of ground and pound a person and try to stay on top, to not allow whatever babyface to just keep going, get the Chris Benoit on, just keep going and going and going. But when you're dealing with Dean Ambrose, he refuses to stay down for 30 seconds. I think there was a part where he stayed down for a little bit longer, and I think this is odd for him to stay down as long as he had, but it still wasn't as long as, say, the average babyface stays down if there's a bully heel keeping them down, grounding and pounding them. But Ambrose wins the Intercontinental belt. And the result is from, Ambrose reverses the pop-up powerbomb into a Karana, a roll-up pin. No finisher, no nothing, just a Karana roll-up pin, reversing the pop-up powerbomb. And he is now the Intercontinental Champ finally. That's one. So the Usos didn't win from the Rain Man, and now you got Ambrose, who's now the other Rain Man, and he is the Intercontinental Belt champion. Speaking of which, I had the Wyatts winning that match, and then here I had Ambrose winning because. Sorry, I didn't have Ambrose winning. I had Kevin Owens winning because Ambrose hasn't had his eye on the ball. He's been more caught up in, say, what's been happening with Roman Reigns, a guy that basically didn't need his help. If you've been watching the show, Reigns has just been making the League of Jobbers look like very much the League of Jobbers. But Ambrose finally gets his Intercontinental belt he's been wanting for quite some time. Again, this stretches almost 2 years ago, where the Intercontinental belt, he wanted that Intercontinental belt to be on the Wall of Champions. He's finally on the Wall of Champions. I hope, going into Monday Night Raw tomorrow, they'll focus on that. I hope he mentions that. So you remember, I wanted to be on the Wall of Champions. Now I can finally be on the Wall of Champions. But the feud's not over because Owens gets his rematch, and maybe he gets his rematch tomorrow. I guess somebody has to go into the Royal Rumble, the Intercontinental Champion, because I'm gonna take a wild guess that Intercontinental belt will not be up. It will not be up at the Royal Rumble. No one's defending that shit. So, congratulations, Dean Ambrose. I thought you were too distracted, but you pulled it off. You get Paige versus Flair. And a clusterfuck of trying to figure out who to cheer for, who to boo. Because both of them you got Charlotte, again, one of the worst transitions into being a heel than you've ever fucking seen. She's crying and moaning about, Paige talking about her brother, suicide. And now she's styling and profiling with her dad like a real jerk. And if you watch the match, Charlotte wrestles as the heel. She really does. She's basically doing her old man's moves. She does the whole unconscious flop. She does the knees and stuff. And it's just basically Ric Flair with a vagina in the ring for this match. You get a shot of Team Bad in the back with PCB, basically with the wigs of Becky Lynch, the wig of Charlotte Flair, and the wig of Paige, because Team Bad is basically the new bad, the new day. They're the bad, new bad day. New bad day, I guess. Well, anyway, there's a point where Ric Flair takes off, because he's earning his money out there. He's earning his money. He takes the buckle. It's a little distraction, but he takes the buckle off, the second buckle on the upper right side of upper. I guess if we're looking in the ring hard camera, it's to the left and the one to the back. So he took out that second buckle. By the way, this ref, he played awesome. He played so dumb and so naive, and he played favor too, by the way. You can just see it, and even at the end. But he takes it off to, I guess we're waiting to see what payoff that is. There's a spot where Paige applies the figure four, and then that gets reversed. At the very end, the Rampage is put on Charlotte Flair. But Papa Flair grabs the leg, and this is another one of those moments where the incompetence of the referee really played into the heel ship of the Flairs. And then Paige is pissed. She's bitching at the ref, and as Charlotte goes into the corner, kind of baits her in, to the exposed buckle. She fucking just snatches her down. Her head hits the fucking exposed buckle. And, the ref is incompetent. 1, 2, 3 victory for Charlotte. She retains the belt. I think I had Charlotte winning this. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna have to go back and check to see if I had Flair, because Paige, she just hasn't been winning. Either way, we're just getting more. She's evolving. The story is that Charlotte is evolving more and more and more into her father. This is maybe the 5th time in the past year that Paige has gone up to try to get the belt and failed. So I don't know what they're going to do with Paige moving forward. You say that every time she loses. I don't know what they're going to do with Paige moving forward. I know what they're going to do. They're still going to keep her in the fucking top diva spot. That's what they're going to do. You get a little K Jewelers spot because that's their new sponsor, K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. About a dude basically proposing to his old lady in the middle of a ring. I guess at the TLC ring. Before the show. And then after that, we get Becky Lynch in the back basically confronting the Flairs about their tactics in winning the match. And we get to the main event, which is Reigns versus Sheamus. And I will say, again, it wasn't the best match, but it was a decent match. It was a brutal match. Very brutal. Kind of rude, too. The Boston fans were pretty rude. A lot of chants, CM Punk chants, We Want Cena chants. That was an actual chant that started the night. We Want Cena. And I'm like, God damn, man. We want Cena. Cena sucks. And you can see the look on their faces like, oh, man, we gotta pull these guys in. And they did. I mean, anyone who says this match wasn't good, you're just being kind of like sourpuss. And I would be Captain Sourpuss. I like to nominate myself as Captain Sourpuss going into this match. Like, fuck this match. Fuck this entire build towards this pay-per-view. But again, not a bad match. Not a bad show. It wasn't too many matches. But, again, it just kind of works itself out. But one thing I forgot to even bring up, right at the very end of the Flair Paige match, Ric Flair's in the back. He gets in the ring and he's styling and profiling, and he throws his jacket towards JBL or just towards the commentator's booth, and they shoot Michael Cole, and Michael Cole looks pissed. If you got the network, just go back to the end of that and just go check out Michael Cole's reaction to Ric Flair. He is not pleased at all. Like, breaking kayfabe, like, straight up. Like, he's just like, fuck this motherfucker. But anyway, back to Sheamus versus Reigns. The only thing I would have problem with in this match is that Reigns gets way too much offense than I think he should have. He just gets way too much offense. You're supposed to be a babyface. You should allow yourself to get beat down. And I know you're big bad Reigns, bully Reigns, but you should have let Sheamus be more dominant. You should have let him be more dominant. It's just the way it should be. It's a waste of a heel to not allow this person in a fucking TLC match not to get as much heat as they possibly can. Even in a victory, at least give the baby face a big old like Hulk up, and give that solid belief that after all the beat down and all the grounded pound, that there's this spot where you're just thinking, man, he's going to actually pull it off. But you really don't get that. You just get like a brutal match, basically, between the two, back and forth. Big spots. There's a big white noise spot off the stairs, off this, the steel stairs, onto a table outside. Very brutal. Very brutal. Good stuff. And then we get a Samoan drop on the table that straddled that straddled. I guess what is it? Samoan drop. Yeah, just a big old Samoan drop on the ladder. It's just straddled between the commentator's desk and the ring, and it's a good looking spot. It's a good looking spot. Catches him, drops him. They go crashing through the ladder. It's a pretty brutal spot. Good stuff. But as soon as you see that, you're thinking that Sheamus is actually going to win, and this is the part where I thought Triple H was going to run in and interfere, but we finally get interference from the League of Nations. We get Rusev and we get ADR out there, which they end up looking like clowns because Roman Reigns, he just can't go down to anybody. So even though they kind of attack him at first, he ends up getting Superman punches in on both of them, and it's a shame, man. It's a real shame. It's 3-on-1, and Reigns, even in a losing effort, he didn't win the match, but he still stood tall because Sheamus hits him with the big boot, sending him outside. So he climbs the ladder, and Reigns looks like he's about to go back in. You're thinking that Sheamus is about to climb down on some dumb shit and cause himself to lose the match. But he's like, fuck that. He just takes the belt down, and he wins. And Roman Reigns snaps. He fucking snaps. So even in a losing effort, he snaps and stands tall. He basically just beats the living crap out of Sheamus with the chair. He beats the crap out of Rusev. They're in there celebrating. They got, both Rusev and ADR has Sheamus on their shoulders. Roman Reigns, the sourpuss that he is, he can't let these guys celebrate in victory. I mean, it's a no DQ. It's no DQ. So it's not like he got cheated. It's no DQ. It's a match that he set. A match that he fucking set. And so there's no odds against him. He knows that he has posse, and he sets up a no DQ match. And the tables, ladders, and chairs, that's his match. He said it. So he's all sour grapes that Sheamus wins. And he spears all three of them as they're fucking celebrating in the ring. And then he just beats the living shit out of everyone with the chair. Then poor Sheamus catches some of the most vicious chair shots you've ever seen. He's there screaming in agony. Because the way he hit him, it's like, yeah, there's no faking this. He's getting his ass handed to him with a fucking chair. He should be screaming. He should be crying in the ring because those chair shots are so fucking painful. Bully Reigns. Fucking sour grapes. Bully Reigns. And he fucking just destroys Sheamus. This guy just wins the belt, and he gets destroyed. This guy wins the belt, and he's looking like a fucking madman because he snaps. You got the referees and Stephanie McMahon and Triple H coming down to sort of just rectify the situation, right? Triple H gets into the ring. He tries to bring everyone down, like, yo, everyone back up. I'll take care of this. And then Reigns goes fucking ham on Triple H, hits him with the Superman punch, beats the living shit out of him with a table. He power bombs him through a fucking table. He doesn't power bomb him through the Spanish announce table. I think that was, I don't know if he was supposed to put him through it or what, because he puts him down pretty nice and soft to where the table doesn't go down. But then he climbs up on the regular table, and then he drops a big elbow, and they go crashing through the table. And then when you think he's walking off, because he's all like, I snapped, I can't do it, I can't win the championship, the odds are against me, motherfucker. Again, it was a no DQ match. You should have had the Usos come out, or fucking Ambrose, who just won a championship, have them come out and even the score. But nope, you do this on your fucking own. And you pay the fucking consequences. There's no table. There's no odd stack to get you in this. And no DQ, no. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go along with that. So you fucking just cannibalize the entire like top heels right now. I mean, it's the mid card. It's it's a league of mid carders. But know what? There are the top heels right now, and all three of them bit the dust to this one guy. And something I've been preaching, and you'll see the reaction videos tomorrow after this on the YouTube page. But this is something I was talking about on Peter Talks SmackDown, what I was talking about on fucking Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. Episode 69. The championship belt is not main event. It's only the belt. The main event is anyone at this point in time that's going to be facing Triple H. And we've seen, with Seth Rollins being injured and all, they had to basically call Omaha and build the feud between Roman Reigns and Triple H. And I think they had something else for Triple H or whatever. I mean, all these injuries really set everything just spiraling out of control. But you saw your champion beat down and bloodied, just pulverized, having to be carried out. That's your champion. While the guy who loses looks like he's about the main event. And the this is not going to be for the Royal Rumble. It's not going to be for Fastlane. They're going to build this little feud between those two heading into WrestleMania. It's that simple. This will be Roman Reigns versus Triple H. And he doesn't need a belt for that. And speaking of your championship being like pummeled, that's going to be for Brock Lesnar. That's going to be for Brock Lesnar to just run through everybody, every fucking body in the Royal Rumble and destroy Brock Lesnar. I mean, destroy Sheamus at WrestleMania. Sheamus, it's going to be Sheamus, Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Ugh, this is going to be a fucking mess. And everyone's complaining about how he should or shouldn't have the belt. It's like, you don't get it. It's not about the belt. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but it's Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns' destiny is not to own the belt and not to win the belt. His destiny is to headline. And again, if you've been keeping up, that belt hasn't headlined shit since Brock Lesnar. Well, I think Sting versus Seth Rollins was a headliner. But then that was it. Or maybe, that was it. In Hell in a Cell. Was it Hell in a Cell? Something. SummerSlam? I don't even know. Doesn't even matter. Because I think that was the only time that fucker headlined. It's been Brock Lesnar. It's been The Undertaker. That's it. So Roman Reigns stands tall after a loss because that belt don't mean shit. And I think I predicted, like the way the heels have been treated because of Reigns, just losing and losing. It's like, well, they're set up as the baby faces. They are set up as the baby faces. So they're going to go into the pay-per-view, TLC, and win. And sure enough, they win. The only baby face that came out with a victory is fucking Dean Ambrose. Ain't that crazy? I mean, if you want to call Charlotte Flair a face, but it's what I predicted, that almost every single fucking heel got theirs, got over. Rusev won. Fucking ADR won. Sheamus won. New Day won. Charlotte Flair won. Again, in that clusterfuck of what have you. Yeah. The Wyatt family won. This is like fucking The Empire Strikes Back, man. The only shining moment. Even fucking Sasha Banks won. The only babyface that came out on top was Dean Ambrose, and even though Reigns lost, he still came out on top, destroying everybody in sight. This is your WWE, folks. This is your WWE. Thanks for checking out this TLC recap. Again, the discussion will be this Wednesday. Me and Jake go back and forth. He'll give his spew. I'll give my spew. You know, some things from here. Maybe I'll generate some more things as I have more time to think about it. And then tomorrow you will get a Peter's Raw recap. I'm going to be watching the show post TLC and give you a recap as well. But that will not be uploaded to SoundCloud. That will distribute to the rest of, say, iTunes, Stitcher, and Podbean. That's just going to be a YouTube thing. So if you're listening and you want to check out my recap, be sure to go to the Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling YouTube channel. So do yourself a favor, subscribe if you're listening. Again, if you just stumbled across this podcast, subscribe, throw me in your favorites. Mondays, Peter's Raw Recap, the New Day Podcast, which is on hiatus until January. Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, Peter Talks SmackDown. Put me on your playlist, man. I really appreciate it. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscription box below. You get the same content. And then also the reaction videos. So tomorrow I'll upload the reaction videos. It's going to be basically the last couple of minutes to both the ladder match and then Reigns versus the ladder match between the tag team belts and Sheamus versus Roman Reigns. So those are the only two videos that'll be up. Makes my life so much easier and get them up much faster. So, yep. Is that about it? Yep. PJTW Central. Subscribe, comment, and for the most important thing you can do is share. Just hit the share button. Put it on your any and all your social medias. So thank you so much for checking out this podcast or this video, and watch out for those foreign objects. Peace.